Hello. From the studio in Nitro, West Virginia, this is Unreasonable Doubt. It's a podcast about West Virginia University basketball. I'm Josh Witt, and West Virginia loses to Baylor in overtime, 74-71. That's now 6 losses in their last 8 games. The last 3 losses have been close ones. They've lost by a combined 12 points. Had leads in the second halves of all 3 of those losses. BYU, they got a little overstimulated, and Igor hit a ridiculous 3. TCU game, missed free throws. This one was lost in a way that makes you start questioning things in life. Life questions start popping up the way West Virginia lost this game. You can't make it up. Love this team. Shout out to Tucker for wearing a 304 shirt. I think he's sending subliminal messages there about his future. Is there a 304 area code in Iowa? West Virginia loses this in a way you think a curse. You think, what did somebody do that offended the basketball gods? How is this possible? A team that did have some luck in the first part of the season. Is it an empty tank of luck? Do you just have so much luck in a season? That can't be true. But it feels like it. Here's what happened. And we could talk about the refs, and we could talk about the free throw difference. West Virginia is minus $1 billion here recently from the free throw line and probably on the season. You can't play defense when the other team shoots free throws. That one dude in the arena was trying to in Waco. Shout out to that guy. It almost helped the Baylor free throw shooters. That guy screaming, "Sir, I appreciate the work that you did. Do know that every time you screamed, it seemed like they made one." And they made so many. And they didn't score any points besides free throws in the overtime. But it doesn't get to overtime if what I'm about to tell you doesn't happen. And you could poke a hole in this argument. You could say, well, Josh, if the luck is terrible, then for sure this could have went to overtime if this goes different, what you're about to say. Let me just get to it. West Virginia has the ball. Javon Small, who had a great game. Step back 3. Baylor's big blocks it, but not back towards him. He tips it. It's going towards the rim. Toby Okani grabs it. Toby was great today. He grabs the ball, brings it down. 3 Baylor Bears are around him. He gets it picked, but he's hustling. He's trying to get the ball back, and he falls to the floor. He leaves a wet spot on the court that if Baylor tries to slow it down, run a set, then plenty of time for the mop people to go address the wet spot before West Virginia brings it back down. That would be, it's not even something you think about in the realm of luck. It's just a typical thing that would happen. But no, Baylor full speed ahead, and not only full speed ahead, the pass from the other side of the court at the foul line to the Baylor player kind of running out, the outlet pass is incredible Hulk style. He shoots it like a cannon. I think it hits the Baylor player's hand, but it ricochets off the backboard. So, and West Virginia gets it back. And of course, they're going to go fast. You know how many times West Virginia plays so slow for the most part. They pick their spots. And this time, they found a spot to immediately come back. All right? Are you following? Yeah, I mean, if you watch the game, you know what happens. The key point is West Virginia's quickly coming back the other way, and the wet spot is still on the floor, unaddressed. Nobody's fault. Couldn't have been done. Boom, boom, play. It's coming back this way. Cut to Javon Small going down the lane, draws two defenders. Great pass to Toby Okani. And he's wide open. He is going in for an uncontested layup. Uncontested for West Virginia to go up two. I don't know if he was going to dunk it. He could have laid it up. He could have missed it in a normal way, and he did miss it. But it felt like a guaranteed 2 points. And guess where Toby Okani plants his foot, or tries to plant his foot? On that exact same wet spot he left a few seconds ago. And my man banana peel slipped. It cartoon style. And here's something I've thought about. Somebody like that bald referee that was at the BYU game, or what's that other, like, pick the names. Pick a Doug, pick a Kip. One of those cats would have called a travel. And that still stinks, but it's not as, it's still unlucky. It actually doesn't help anything. I'm in shock by this play and trying to find a different way that this could go. But Toby banana peel slips. I'm surprised his foot didn't kick towards the ceiling, Three Stooges style, and then land on the floor like he caught a clothesline in professional wrestling. Obviously shorts the shot and slips so bad that maybe Baylor had an intention of fast breaking the other way. Timeout. We got to address the floor. The damage is done. Let's do cleanup. And the damage is done. I wasn't expecting West Virginia to win this game. It's a tough place to play at Baylor. They've got a coach that's won a national championship. They get elite talent every year, put guys in the pros. The freshman guards were great. That's a tough game every year. And West Virginia could have went up too, but all those things that had to happen, including Toby hustling, trying to get the ball back. If he just shoulder shrug, gets back the other way, no wet spot on the floor, 2 points up. But because Toby pays for hustling, West Virginia catches an unlucky break because Toby was trying hard. You make your own luck. Toby made his own luck. It was bad luck. And Toby had a great game. I'm not putting this on Toby. But if you make your own luck, why does that happen? Why doesn't Toby get rewarded for his effort? Instead of, whoop. Ice skates. Hey, Toby, try really hard. And now you're on ice skates, but you're playing basketball. Congratulations. It's unbelievable. And now West Virginia is 15-10. And I thought they'd be 15-10. Road games are hard. Baylor is good. And yet West Virginia took this one to overtime. This is the fourth overtime game of the season. Called this before the season. The Darren DeVries loves him some OT. 4 overtime games last year. I think only one season he's had less than 3 overtime games. The man coaches, and I enjoy the work of Darren DeVries. My man ends up in overtime quite a bit. And it happened again today. West Virginia is now 2-2 in overtime. Plenty of games left to go to overtime, I'm afraid. And if we're working on the theory that luck runs out, and it ran out in the Jerry West game, then that's a problem. Still love this season. Still like the product. It's just unfortunate because I'd really like to see some luck go the other way. And I mean, you just can't. I can't make it up. It's deeply frustrating. And I don't know what's going to happen next. Like West Virginia player's going to shoot a three and it's going to get shot out of the air by a t-shirt cannon that goes off accidentally. I mean, just pick something goofy. And how can you play defense on opposing teams? West Virginia is like there's like 320 something in the country as far as how well opponents are shooting free throws against them. There's like 30 or 40 teams, which is amazing when you watch this team and see how other teams shoot from the free throw line. How West Virginia's not 360 whatever. Shout out to Bowling Green. I think their opponents are shooting like 80% from the free throw line, which is ridiculous. I'm sorry, Bowling Green Falcons fans. But it's definitely the worst in the Big 12. And that's not a luck thing, I don't guess, but that's not something West Virginia can control other than try to reduce the amount of times the other team gets to the line. And you and I both know that would have been impossible today. Refereeing is a tough job. This isn't a luck thing. There is a home whistle. My goodness. I think the first 5 fouls, there was 3 against Ed, Andre 3000, and 2 against Amani, or maybe vice versa. Baylor's 5. He has 4 fouls for what feels like 20 minutes. Finally fouls out when the game's out of reach. And that's not the difference of the game. The difference of the game is a wet spot on the court. Unreasonable Doubt is under the Smoking Musket umbrella. Go to smokingmusket.com. Read posts about WVU sports, Daily Throwdown. Check that out. Go to the Discord. We're talking about WVU sports and other stuff on the Smoking Musket Discord. Link for that is in the show notes. Listen to West by Pod, the WVU football podcast under the Smoking Musket umbrella. Do all that stuff. Smoking Musket. The next game for West Virginia is Wednesday, 7 p.m. Still on cable, ESPN2, back in the Coliseum on a weekday to play the resurgent Cincinnati Bearcats. Speaking of luck, after West Virginia goes to Cincinnati and wins there a couple of weeks ago, Cincinnati responds by winning 3 in a row. They lost today at Ames against Iowa State. But of course, now they got their stuff together. They're playing much better. We watched that game. The Cincinnati fans were booing a ton. And I said maybe Cincinnati's bad. I wasn't trying to reverse jinx them, but it worked. And now they're playing well. And West Virginia beat Cincinnati, so it's a revenge game for Cincinnati. And West Virginia's not playing well in the sense that they've lost 6 of their last 8. And so we've made it 25 games. We made it to mid-February. This is the first must-win game of the season. So congratulations for making it this far before having a must-win. Really, ideally, you don't want to have must-wins. There are teams that are playing basketball right now that don't have any must-wins for the remaining part of the season. They want to keep winning, but there's no must-wins. They're making the NCAA tournament. West Virginia does not have that luxury. But on the flip side, like, the first must-win game last season was, it might have been in December. We made it to February, mid-February. And West Virginia is 0-0 this season in must-win games. And now we're here. This is to keep West Virginia's NCAA tournament bid alive. I believe that. Because think about it. If West Virginia loses Wednesday, you go to Lubbock next Saturday, which is going to be a big problem, and West Virginia's going to lose that game. Now West Virginia comes back home for another must-win game, and really, I think, the rest of the season must-win games. Darren DeVries said they think they can get in with 3 more wins. They feel really good with 4. So I don't feel good with 3. I feel good with 4. And if you lose at home to Cincinnati, then you got to win, and you lose at Lubbock. You go back to Texas 7 days later for a 1-game trip again to Texas. Then you come back to play TCU on a normal court. You got to win that. And if you lose Wednesday, you got to win that TCU game, and you got to sweep the Utah trip, and you got to win Senior Day against Central Florida. You're just running out of time here. And the problem with winning 4 in a row is that West Virginia hasn't won 2 games in a row since the winning streak that started in the Bahamas that went into Big 12 play. So it's been a while since you won 2 in a row. Now you're asking for 4 in a row. And that seems like a tough ask for this team right now. But if you win Wednesday, and remember, West Virginia, home or away, hasn't won a weekday game in 2025. This calendar year, 0 wins on Monday, 0 wins on Tuesday, 0 wins on Wednesdays, 0 wins on Thursdays, 0 wins on Fridays. Now, to be fair, I don't think they played on Monday or Thursday or Friday. So I'm just looking at you Tuesday and Wednesday. Maybe they played a Monday game. Maybe they sprinkle one of those in. But no weekday wins. But if they get their first one, it'd be the best time to get their first weekday win Wednesday against Cincinnati. Then you sweep Cincinnati. You still lose at Lubbock. But now you probably still a must-win game at TCU, because then you go to BYU, problem. But that can be a problem, and then you try to win, you try to sweep Utah, then come back home and win. The path is there, but each loss makes that path more narrow. And each loss, the bubble gets a little more slippery, and all of a sudden, you're slipping on that bubble like Toby did today on the wet spot on the floor, and then you fall into a sad tournament instead of the tournament. And if you lose Wednesday, then it's a tightrope. Then the path goes from, plenty of room on the path, flat ground, to that ground becomes a tightrope. Now you're up in the air. And any false move, then you fall and you fall and you fall into an abyss. And the abyss is just not making the NCAA tournament. Like the coach, like the team, we're in the first must-win situation. Can they sweep Cincinnati? We'll find out together. That's it for this episode of Unreasonable Doubt. Listen on all the platforms, or just pick one. Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Overcast Podcasts, YouTube. Till next time, I'm Josh Witt, WBU, for the 2024-2025 season. They have 15 wins and they have 10 losses.